ladies and gentlemen, here's Elvis Presley.
This ain't no nostalgia show. We're gonna do something different.
So Elvis tells the story of Elvis Presley from his youth all the way up until his death at the age of 42. And the movie provides you with a lot of details about his life. It shows you a lot of different things that occurred during it, and it's for those reasons that I actually really found myself enjoying this movie, because that's the main reason why I was interested in this film in the first place. I really enjoy learning about other people's stories and everything that they've kind of gone through in life and what they've had to experience. And so that's what sort of drew me to this Elvis film, is that I didn't know anything about him going into it. I knew very, very little. I listened to his music on occasion, but I didn't know much of his story at all, and so I was very interested in that. And the film does a good job of showing you a lot about his life and everything that he had to go through. And so I really, really enjoyed that. To go along with this story and the way that they portrayed it, the characters are also really well done, and that's mainly because of the performances of the actors. You have Austin Butler, who is playing Elvis in this, and he does a great job. I'm not particularly familiar with him as an actor, but I thought he was a good job to display Elvis on screen, and if you compare it to Elvis in person, they seemed pretty darn similar, and they had a lot of those similarities in the way that he moved and the way that he spoke. I think the actor did a great job. To go along with Elvis in this film, you also have Tom Hanks portraying the Colonel. Now, the Colonel is his manager, and this movie is really almost as much about him as it is about Elvis himself. And he's a very interesting person, and it was really interesting to see how his story kind of progressed through the film. He's sort of the one narrating it as well. And Tom Hanks does a great job of portraying him, and I thought he was an interesting character, and I really enjoyed him in the movie as well. So that's really the two big things about this film that I would recommend it for, is the fact that if you're interested in learning a little bit more about Elvis, then go and see this movie. And if you like seeing the good performances that come out this year, I think that this movie definitely has some of those, and I'd recommend you check it out for that reason. My number one complaint with this movie, however, has got to be the fact that it is significantly long. I mean, it is super long. I mean, it's not the longest movie I've ever seen, and I'm not against long movies in and of themselves. I've seen a lot of longer films. I've enjoyed a lot of longer films, but on this one, as we started getting towards the end, I really, really felt the length of this. And I think the reason for that is most of the time with longer films, I like with it changing throughout the runtime, so it doesn't feel like it's being repetitive. This film kind of has a repetitive nature to it. Not that it is completely repetitive, but it's just so many concerts and so much singing, and you can only hear the same song so many times or watch them do the same moves. And over time, I just kind of was like, okay, let's just kind of progress this and get it over with. There was actually one concert that occurs in this film, and it was really this big event, and I remember watching that part, and I was like, this is probably kind of the finale of the film. They're sort of wrapping things up, and I enjoyed the part. But then there's like a whole half an hour or more that takes place after that event, and so it was kind of a little bit too long for me. I liked some of the concerts that they included, some of those bigger ones that had major implications on his life, but some of the smaller ones that they just kind of have sprinkled throughout, I feel like they could have done without some of them. I didn't need all of that. But that's really my number one complaint with this film, is the fact that it doesn't quite deliver the runtime that it needs. It could have been a little bit shorter, and if it was a little bit shorter, I think I would have enjoyed it just a little bit more. But for all of those reasons, I'm going to go ahead and give this one a B. I think that it is significantly fun. I think it's worth checking out if you have the time, especially if you're interested in learning more about Elvis Presley. But it's not one of my favorite films that I've seen this year, and it's probably not one that I'm going to find myself rewatching all that much.
And Elvis the God was born.
I'm going to show you what the real Elvis is like tonight.
Now, on a cleanliness level, for the most part, I think that Elvis is really family friendly. I think that a lot of people can watch this film and can enjoy it, and that there's not a lot of things that you need to really look for. But there are some things in the film that I do want to just bring kind of to your attention so that you know that they're in there before you go and see it. The first of those is, like a lot of films, it has your mild swearing that occurs throughout. It's not really significant in this film. It didn't stand out to me, but it is there, and there is the swear words from beginning to end. It's just kind of in the language and the way that they speak. You also do have a significant amount of drug and alcohol stuff in here, and it involves in Elvis's life. It's part of his story. That's part of why it's in this film. It's not showing that you should have drugs or alcohol. In fact, it's really going against it because it shows how it in fact affected his life. And so I did enjoy that side, but it is throughout the film. It does show him drinking, it does show drugs, it does show all of that stuff. Then there's kind of what I would say is sort of the biggest thing about this film is that while there is no actual sex or nudity in it, there are some moments with Elvis where he is with some girls and you do see them in their underwear and stuff is implied even if it's not specifically shown. You also have moments where he's up on stage and the girls are freaking out and they're even throwing their underwear up at him. Stuff like that is in the film, so it's nothing that I think is terribly bad, but it is something that you may not want, especially younger viewers, to see, especially if you're trying to avoid that kind of stuff to get into their minds and start possibly affecting them in any way. So I would recommend that to preview it for younger viewers, but like I said, for the most part, it's going to be fine for most viewers. It is rated PG-13. I think it's going to be good for teenagers. Anyone younger than that, maybe you want to look into it a little bit more. But for the most part, I think you're going to be fine. So as a cleanliness rating overall, I'm going to go ahead and give this one a B as well. I think that it is, for the most part, going to be worthwhile for the whole family to check out. I think that a lot of them can enjoy it. But you just may want to look into it for some viewers to see whether or not you want them to see just some of the things that make an appearance in this film.
Reverend once told me, when things are too dangerous to say, sing.
But anyways, guys, those are my thoughts on the movie Elvis starring Austin Butler, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun look into Elvis's life. I enjoyed the acting and the story that was told, but it's not one of my favorites, mainly due to the length of it and the fact that I just feel like they showed a little bit more than I needed to see. And for that purpose, it's kind of okay for me. But what did you guys think of it? Have you seen it? If you have, let us know in the comments what you thought. I would love to hear from you. Be sure to let me know of any other reviews coming that you would like to see. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one.